back to Grandpa and the Millennial. I'm Natasha. I'm the grandpa. Just kidding. I'm the millennial.
And I'm Anthony, and I'm the grandpa. And we have a great friend and guest today, and Danny Flores, from owner of Clear Reflections Pool Service. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so excited to have the conversation. I want to hear about your story. But before we jump into that, tell us a little bit about where you're at in life today, what you're doing right now.
Right now, 54 years old, 5 kids, blended family, 3 are mine, 2 are my better halves, and just grinding, man. Almost at the finish line right now.
Oh my goodness, you're not almost at the finish line.
5 grandchildren. No, I'm sorry, 4 grandchildren right now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. The best thing ever.
Best thing ever. I have too.
100%.
No, I'm loving it. So good. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to go back and start where you grew up. So Danny, tell us your story.
Oh man. Palo Alto, California. Graduated in 1987.
Well, let's go back. Who'd you grow up with before we get to your graduation?
Okay. So I was born in a very small town in the Central Valley called Exeter, California, which is about 30 miles east of a small town called Visalia.
Oh, I know Visalia.
Okay, so very, very small, orange picking type of town. Left immediately to Southern California and stayed in Southern California, I want to say probably until I was 5 years old. So I don't remember much of Southern California. And then moved to the Bay Area, Sunnyvale, California for 2 years, and then moved to Palo Alto. Okay. So I was in roughly the 4th grade by the time we landed in Palo Alto, and then stayed there until we migrated to Roseville, California.
So who's in Palo Alto with you? It's you and who's
Siblings,
my mom?
Parents?
Yeah, my mom, my stepdad, my sister, and then my brother came towards the end. My brother's 15 years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was me and my sister, who she's 4 years younger than me. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And so good upbringing, happy upbringing?
Yes. My mom and dad divorced when I was younger. So when I was probably in the 5th grade, and of course, knowing now what I know, my dad is, complete loser. So my biological dad. But at that point in time, he was probably my hero, right?
Yeah.
But then as time went on, my mom remarried, and that was a tough relationship to begin with. But as soon as I matured, that dude became like the best father figure somebody could even possibly ask for. Like, I haven't talked to my biological dad in 30 years, maybe 20 years.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And he did one of my kids wrong. And I just was like, dude, you're not going to do the same thing to my kids as you did to me. And pretty much just cut the line. We drove down there to Visalia in 5 hours and took them 5 minutes to play the same game. And we jumped in the car and drove 5 hours back.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't talked to my biological in almost 30 years as well.
Yeah.
And my dad is stepdad too, so I can relate.
Yeah. And it's kind of a trip, man. My biological dad still tells like my cousins and stuff like that we talk and we're friends. And I'm like, man, I haven't talked to this guy in 30 years. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a trip.
So you're going through high school. You an athlete?
Played football, basketball, baseball all 4 years in high school. Probably what kept me in school. I'm just not a student, but I went through it. I put enough effort in that my teachers, liked me enough to be like, okay, let's go. We're going to push you through. When high school was done, I had no idea what I was going to do. I sat around, just did random jobs, worked at my dad's gas station in Palo Alto. And the following year of graduation, I decided to enroll at Foothill College, and I played 2 years of football there. And then as soon as football was over, like the day it was over, exited college.
Gotcha.
With zero game plan, zero.
But you got 2 years in. Mm-hmm. So, did you want to go to a 4-year, or are you just done at
Oh
2
no,
years?
it was never a question for me.
And then, what was the plan? Did you have a plan?
I had no plan. So, like, with my upbringing, my mom was like, "Hey, if you're not going to go to school, then you just got to get a job." There was no like ill will towards it or anything like that. It was just like, you're not going to work. I mean, you're not going to go to school, work.
Okay, so no game plan whatsoever. Didn't know what you wanted to do.
Nope. This was 2 years after junior college. So this is 2 years junior college. Then it was just random. I'm playing adult softball. I'm
Living your best life.
Yeah,
You're dating.
How are
having
you
a good time.
supporting yourself? Were you working or you're
yeah.
like,
I worked
living
for
with
my
mom?
dad's gas station.
Oh, okay.
And I
gotcha.
remember I made $5 an hour. I mean, that's, but gas was,
That was a
also
lot
like
of money
75
back then.
cents.
Natasha. Yeah,
Gas
she's
was
like $5.
75
That's a
cents.
gallon of gas.
Oh my gosh.
So my life like wasn't an expensive life, you know, like no car payment. I didn't golf. All the things that we did was a basketball in a park. If we have football in a park, baseball in a park. So there was no expenses to none of that stuff. So I'm playing in an adult softball league and I'm babysitting like at an elementary school in Stanford. And that was wild, man. I'm like, and I love kids. And I was like, by the time I left every day, I'm like, Jesus, I can't do this. We got to do something. And in my adult softball league, somebody just goes, "Hey, do you want to clean pools? My ex-husband's looking for a guy to clean pools." And I'm like, what does it pay? And she tells me, and I'm just like, sure, I'll go out. I had no idea what it was.
And how old are you at this time?
20?
So you're 20 at this time. Still don't know what you want to do, but you say, "I'll go clean the pools." Mm-hmm. And you're making $5 an hour?
No, for this, I think they were paying by the pool. I can't even remember what I was making. It might have been $500 a week or something like that. You know, I can't even remember what it was.
But more than what you were getting. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you excited about this? Like, this is a good job?
Well, I didn't know what to expect. You know, like we didn't grow up with a pool or anything like that. So I remember it. 5 days of training, and they're like, "Here you go. Here's 75 pools. Here's the truck. Go."
Oh, so they gave you a whole route.
Yeah, and dude, you had to read remember the Thomas Guide?
Yeah, I do remember. Do you
Yeah.
know what Thomas Guide is?
no.
Yeah. So there's no phones.
So explain the Thomas Guide for those that are
So
listening.
the Thomas Guide is basically 3 or 4 inch book that's basically road maps. So you got to look up the address and then flip to that page and then.
Oh, I wouldn't have survived.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have survived.
So I can't go like, "Oh yeah, give me to Darby Way, 45," and then the phone takes me there. So I'm spending probably 15 minutes in between going right, left, turning upside down.
This is
you know?
tragic.
Oh
This
yeah,
is,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
It was like, oh my god. So 15 stops was, you know, taking probably 8-9 hours a day, but absolutely loved it, man.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
So what was it about that you loved?
I could start when I wanted to start. I can dress the way I wanted to dress to a point. You know, I mean, couldn't do anything crazy. But if I want to stop for a 2-hour lunch, I could stop for a 2-hour lunch. Just means I'm getting off 2 hours later. So I'm kind of just working my own schedule, and that's one of the perks I like now. You would have never ever caught me working an 8 to 5 behind a desk. I mean, that is 100% not me. My friends in high school, you know, a lot of them were pretty successful sales guys, business guys, and they're like, "Hey, do you want a job? You can kill it. You got away with people. You'll be able to smash this." And I'm like, do I have to dress up?
Done to clock in.
Yeah. Do I have to be
happening.
someplace at 8 o'clock? And they're like, "Yep." And I'm like, there's no
no
money
way.
you could even offer me, man. Like, I don't want to do it. Sorry, I'm good.
So were you engaging with the homeowners at that time? Or
100%.
So you got to meet them all, you
Yeah.
got to know them.
Yeah. And dude, mind you, these houses that I'm dealing with, like my personal clients were Ronnie Lott,
Oh, wow.
Dwight Clark, Bill Walsh, the coach, and I deal with their wives all the time. Amazing. And just, I've met amazing people, dude.
Just built relationships.
Oh, yeah. And then you see kids when they're like here, when I first came here, 5 years old, and now they're in college, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm getting old, dude. Like, wow, I've been doing your pool that long.
Were you working by yourself?
Yes,
Just you,
it's always
no
by
team?
yourself.
Okay, yeah.
And so how long are you doing this, working for this particular?
So I worked for that guy probably 3 or 4 years, and then somebody else that I knew was like, hey man, I'll double your pay. Come and work for me. And I'm like, ooh. And it was a tough decision for me because I just knew like I was just doing somebody wrong, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I needed to make more money. Now all of a sudden I'm getting older, and dude, living in the Bay Area it's the reason why we left. It's one of the priciest places in the world to live.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to level up. And
Yeah.
I take it you had a good relationship with the first guy. And
Totally. He would take me golfing, and I had no idea what golf was all about. But he belonged to Palto Hills Country Club, and dude, like I'm nervous walking into that place. I don't golf. At that point in time, I didn't golf in my life. But I'm going there, and there's people cleaning my clubs. Dude, my clubs probably cost $100, you know, and they're beat up.
Yeah.
And somebody's wiping them down, and I'm like, shit, I don't have money to tip this dude, you know? But all of a sudden, it's like, hey, man, you want to come out with me every single Wednesday? So, and that was the boss. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'll come out with you every single Wednesday.
So did he teach you golf? Is he one of the people that taught you golf?
No.
No.
I think I was getting hustled by that dude.
Did you see him as a mentor or a figure in your life, or is he just a boss? And
No, he was just a boss. The next dude was more of a mentor. He was the one that was like sending me to classes and stuff like that, like conventions, like out of state and stuff like that.
So he brings you on, he doubles your pay.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think he was attracted to? Like, how did you know this guy? Why did he pick you and say, hey, Danny, come work with me?
I think just purely being loyal, dude. Just like, oh, you know what? My clients are going to love this dude, and he ain't going to go nowhere, and I'm going to compensate him for it.
Got it. And so he brings you on. You say you see him as a mentor. So when you talk about conventions and trainings, that was around the pool industry and anything around the business side of it? Or were you just learning that through?
No, it was just running the business, pools were starting to get a little bit techie, you know, where you're controlling them on the back of motors and inside the house. They still didn't come out with the phone stuff yet, but everything was, hey, we don't want to walk to the pool equipment, you know, to turn on.
Yeah.
So we got to put remotes, wireless remote, whatever inside the house. That's the first generation of like pools being upgraded. Now, dude, everything's ran from inside your house on your phone.
I know.
Phone,
it was a lot harder back when we were going out, Natasha.
I know. I feel bad.
Yeah.
So how old are you when you go to this one?
Low 22, 23, something like that.
So, and then on your personal life, are you still just enjoying life? Or are you in a relationship?
Still enjoying life. Yeah, still enjoying life. It took a few years with this next guy that I rekindled a relationship with. Would have been my future wife, but we dated in high school for like 4 years. And this is Jordan's mom.
Okay.
And then we rekindled it 5 years, 6 years after high school. Like she went and did her thing and I did my thing and then got back together. And then it was at that point where it was like, oh, so it's now 2 incomes to survive. And it was just, it was a struggle. I mean, if I remember correctly, dude, this is in 90s. And I think my rent for my apartment was probably $3,500.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I wouldn't pay
expensive
that now.
It was crazy. I mean, that was an apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was bananas out there.
So I take it you didn't rekindle this through Facebook or social media. That wasn't
even out.
How did it happen back then? You guys went away for 5 years?
No, we went away.
Class reunion?
No, I think she got my number from a mutual friend, like just saw randomly. We lived in the same town. but we just never saw each other. And so there is no social media, right? At this
You
point,
had to work for it back then.
100%. If you don't see somebody,
You gotta find
I mean, we
them.
had pagers, dude. Like, you know, it was like,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, pagers and dimes, dude. Those payphones. So we didn't have. So we get back together and just start going. When she took her own route, she had a little boy. So he's my oldest right now, but we're kind of estranged just because we just don't see eye to eye. We talk, we see each other on holidays, but it's just a difference of opinion all the time. And neither one of us have the energy to argue. So it's almost like we kind of just let each other, like, you think that, I'll think this, I'm going to live my life like this. And I'm like, have at it.
Well, hopefully that as everybody gets older, that gets resolved.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of jumping all over the place because we jumped ahead a few years. But while you're working for this guy, you're learning the business. He's teaching you new skills. You said this guy is more of a mentor than the
last
other one.
guy.
So aside from understanding the technical side of the business, is he teaching you how to run a business, how to get new homes and maybe companies?
To a point, because all of a sudden that makes me his competitor, right? He's not teaching me to be his competitor. Although when I told him, like, hey man, can you bend the rules for me a little bit as far as like all your employees? We decided that we just couldn't afford to live in the Bay Area. So I was going to make the jump out here to Sacramento. And would he allow me to work there for 3 or 4 days a week and then come over here and work 1 day, 3 or 4 days? He could have very easily been like, no. So he actually gave me a raise. It's kind of a trip. He gave me a raise and said, do what you got to do, but this is how long your raise is going to be for. So he paid me extra during that transition because he goes, I know it's going to be hard. So when I came down here, I would stay at one of my uncle's house in Sacramento, right there near the old arena, and work 1 day and then drive back. And then work 4 days over there. And then eventually it became 3 days over there and then 2 days over there. And then finally it was like, and that was it. But he taught me everything there was, you know, besides like, hey, this is what you do in the books. Like, that wasn't going to help me do anything while I was down there.
So while you're going through that, did you start to understand the economics of the business?
100%. Our business isn't a lot, man. There's not a lot. It could be really, really basic. You need a truck, right? And you can load it up daily. You know what all that stuff costs. You know what you need to be paid. You know what insurances cost and stuff like that. So beyond that, when it's just one person, there's not a lot of bookkeeping, anything like that going on.
Yeah, but I think you're selling yourself short. You still have to understand, one, how to keep the business going, but you have to eat and you have to pay a mortgage. You got kids coming, so it's not. Yeah, not that simple.
Well, to me, dude,
it's natural. It sounds like. To you.
So money was obviously a pressure for you, but were you getting more serious about your career? I mean, at this point, were you thinking like, yes, this is what I'm going to, turn it into my own thing? Or were you thinking about other careers or going different ways?
I was never leaving that career. Never.
Wow.
Because I fell in love with it. Just the fact of me going out, even today, like I have amazing relationships with probably 95% of my clients. And they'll be like, hey, how's Jordan? Hey, how's Jack? It's kind of crazy, man. And then I'm like, hey, how's your mom doing? Hey, how was Tahoe? Hey, I mean, those are the conversations that we have. And I mean, I could probably blow it at a couple of them. And they're like, dude, you ain't going nowhere. You know, like I'm staying with you. But the economic side of it, man, to me, it's just like, hey, if I'm able to pay for the food, if I'm able to pay for the roof, if I'm able to pay for my car, if I'm able to pay for gas, like I was good with that. Like, hey, I'm good with it. Oh, we got some extra money. Cool. Let's go on vacation. Let's go. So I do know there's a busy time of the season where you make more money and a slow time of the season where you don't make as much money. But the slow side is the busy side because I spend more money in the summertime than I do in the wintertime because we're making the same amount of money, just spending more money in the summertime on product. But I've never been like, hey, you could ask me right now, how much do you make? Dude.
That's all right.
It could be like, I don't know, somewhere between 80 and 150, Like that's
a
how
big swing.
Yeah, that's how crazy it is. one month you might make 15,000. The other month you might make 12.
Yeah.
So I don't go, okay, I got $15,000 this month. Let's go.
Yeah.
So it just, by the end of the year, it just balances itself out. And I know that sounds crazy. It's just worked for me.
Yeah. Some of us can't live our lives.
Right. And I 100% get it.
But the confidence in that, you're very like, you know what you want. So that's not a bad thing. So when you stopped going back to the Bay Area was here. So another pool company, your own, or another pool company for your own?
So when I stopped going back, I was probably about 60-70% mine. And that was from word of mouth of people. If I saw somebody's pool getting built, I would stop and be like, hey, here's a card. They'll call. And if they don't call you when the pool's done, they're going to call you the first problem they have, right? They're going to be like, oh, I remember that guy stopping by. Or neighbors. And I've never, ever advertised. My advertisement are my clients. Like, I get calls daily. Hey, you take care of them. And the first thing out of my mouth nowadays is like, I'm not cheap. Like,
Yeah.
Nope. Oh, wow. You're more expensive than my guy. And I'm like, you're calling me. I'm not calling you. So
I have a friend like that. And he's like, well, yeah,
because
but their quality is probably not as great either. Just very confident. And this is what it is.
Yeah. So like, okay. Like I don't need you, but if you want to jump on board, let's go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll take you. Like, let's go. But you can't go, oh, my guy's $40 less a month. Oh, okay, well, then I'll lower it for you. We're done with those days.
And so going back, then when did you start that business? When did you start your own?
We moved here 2001.
Okay. And so how is that decision? Walk us through the decision-making process, both to start the business and where you're at with your family.
So we made the decision while we lived in the Bay Area. Jordan's mom, she was a secretary working on Sand Hill. You guys know where Sand Hill Road is?
No.
It's all like startup companies, right? Like they were getting fed. They get fed lunch every day just so people don't leave. Dude, she was a secretary, and I want to say she was probably making $130,000 a year, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, and you get lunch. Like, that's crazy to me. But it just wasn't going to be enough out there. So we said, hey, let's go out there. And she would be able to find a job. So sure enough, she found a job. And I was like, there's pools in Sacramento. That ain't going to be a problem. So we made the jump. 2001 is when we finalized, okay, let's go. We bought a house right by the arena in Natomas. And then from there, the business blew up.
So when you moved to Sacramento was when you started your own business. Mm-hmm. So you walk us through, you had to go buy a truck. You had
a truck.
You had your own
because
truck.
I worked in the Bay Area.
Okay.
It was about as smooth process as, I had to get fingerprinted, right? At the police department because I'm going in people's backyards. At least you're supposed to. I don't know if a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Open up a bank account and sign a fictitious business name. That's all you do, dude.
Well, then you have to go get clients.
Yes.
And you have to make money.
Yes. So I was making enough money when we made the jump. I was making enough money for the mortgage because we already knew what the mortgage was. It was a fraction of what our rent was. Mm-hmm. So for a while there, we just said, okay, we're good. As long as the mortgage is good, because I don't have a truck payment, right?
Yeah.
She has a car payment. But it was a pretty easy transition.
Were you scared at all?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Why? Well, why were you so confident?
Yes, it's so fascinating. Like not one ounce
and he's not even reacting to it.
Yeah,
Really.
I'm just like, wow.
Most people are like that, Danny. Most
I don't
people
know,
are like,
man. I don't know why I wasn't scared.
It just seems so big. Like, oh, starting my own business. Like, there's going to be people, like all these things. It seems so big.
I don't know. Maybe I never looked at failing as an option. Like, it's just not going to happen. The reason why the pool business would fail is if I let it down, right? If I started providing subpar service. So it never entered my mind. If somebody's going to drop me, I don't think they're going to drop me because Danny's not a nice guy. I don't think they're going to drop me because Danny doesn't do good service. So they might drop me like, oh man, my neighbor's pool guy is $40. I've had people drop me, dude, for $5.
Yeah.
Like it's just what it is. I mean, to each their own. It is. But I never thought it would fail. I only thought like, dude, it is going to blow up out here.
I love it.
Yeah.
So during this time, are you married now? Or are you still?
Yes, married now.
So now you're married. You're going through. Are you cruising? Like, everyone right now is thinking, I'm going to go open my own business. Yeah, I want to talk to Danny.
We are cruising.
Do you have your child together at this point?
So we have one daughter together. We have Josh is probably like 5, 6. Jasmine's 3. Jordan's not even born yet. And then it's just blowing up. Like,
your business is blowing
yes.
up. And life is going the way you think it is.
So with blowing up, it's still you. Are you needing to bring people on
Not
at
yet.
this point? It's just you, but
it's just me.
It's hard work.
But the work I could do then, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, I can't even do a fraction of that on my own right now. Like I just move way too slow. So it did get to a point where it was like, hey man, and it's hard to find somebody in the pool business to help because you're like, hey, I only got 1 day's worth of work. I don't need you for 5 days. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you a story about this one dude that worked for me. We're blowing up. His name was Jonathan. Great human being, bro. So we're blowing up and I'm like, hey man, I think I need you to do more work. Like, can you handle like another half day? And he just would never give me a straight answer, right? And I'm just like, this is weird. Like, some people would be like, oh yeah, like, give me another half day. So I knew where he was and I went to the pool and met him and I just started working with him there. And I'm like, hey bud, I've asked you a couple times and I'm not getting like no answer. Are we good for another half day? And he goes, you know what, man? I don't know how to say no to you. I love you and I just can't say no to you. But I'm completely content in life. My wife, they didn't have kids at the time. My wife's not into designer clothes. My wife's not into designer bags. If I work for you and make more money, that the money doesn't matter. It's time away from my wife.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting there going like,
wow,
dude, like, okay. Like,
it was different. Yeah.
I thought about that for a long time, dude. Like, just complacent, dude. He was good. He was like,
was he working 1 day or was this like 6 days you're asking for?
No,
six
he
and a
was
half?
only working for me probably 3 days a week. And the rest, he's home.
Wow.
Like, this is what he lived in an apartment in Elk Grove and he drove just like a little hoopty truck, dude, right? Which I'm sure that was paid off. And so he only needed to make enough for rent and groceries. He goes, we don't go on vacation. Our vacations are, he goes, if we go to dinner, we're going to Chili's. And I just got in the truck going like, dude, like, I need that life. Like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Good for you, brother. Like, I'm down. And put a lot of stuff in perspective, man. Like, sometimes I think we all get caught up like, oh, we're looking for a certain dollar figure to make, and that makes you happy, successful, or whatever. But I think it's furthest from the truth.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm going to come back to the success question at the end. So you guys are cruising in life. Are you growing? You're starting to bring people on.
Business?
Yeah.
Blowing up.
Blowing up. So take us to the height of your business. What's the height of your business?
So blowing up. Okay. So blowing up, and all of a sudden, worst move ever, dude. Our next door neighbors are realtors and they're like, oh, we just bought a house in Roseville. And they were showing us pictures. And the ex-wife was like, dude, this looks nice. And I'm like, we've only been living in this house 3 or 4 years, you know?
Yeah.
And there was already a boatload of equity in the house. And then all of a sudden, dude, she went and looked at the houses, and now we're buying a house in Roseville. And the business was blowing up. I'm working easily 6 days a week. And I'm just becoming, I didn't know this at the time, but I'm becoming less of a husband, less of a dad, because it is just full bore
workaholic
grind. Like, when I came home at 6, 7 o'clock at night, it was like, I want to do nothing. I just want to take a shower, ESPN, Sports Center. That's it. It's like, that's all I want to do. Kids were like, hey, do you want to go to the movies? And I'm like, Saturdays, count me out. I'm going. So I didn't attend a lot. Birthday parties, barbecues.
And if you're able to go back to that time when you're grinding, what are you telling yourself you're working for? Is it, what are you chasing at that time?
Dude, I'm chasing the $1 million house, right? I'm trying to keep our house $1 million. And it's like being completely just sidetracked, dude, of what I am today. I can care less about $1 million house We had BMWs. I mean, it was like
Status.
yes,
It was status. You're chasing status.
yes.
Wow.
I lived in the gated community, and this is going to be crazy. Best thing ever is when we had the crash, 2008, and I'm losing clients now, right, left and right. Whether it's through divorce, losing the house.
And this is while you're at the top of
This is at the top, dude. Probably from where my business is now, probably 4 times as big as what it is now.
Wow.
And it's like, so we're losing everything, right? It's like, okay, we can't do all this now.
because you don't have the income. You're losing
We're
clients, so you
slow.
can't pay for the
Dude,
things.
I was losing 10, 15 clients a month, right? For a period of time. And then some people were like, oh yeah, I'll pay you. Oh yeah, I'll pay you. And then me just being nice, like, okay. Then it's like, damn, where'd they go? House is empty, gone.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, dude.
And so you're starting to see everything you were chasing
For all the wrong reasons.
starting to go away.
Yeah.
So how are you processing this? What
How are you feeling?
Oh yeah. I felt like, dude, I don't have a game plan to, like, how you're like scared, right? Now I'm like, whoa, I'm letting my family down. Like, how's this gonna happen? But there was no way, dude. Every other house you went to was foreclosed and stuff like that, right?
and everyone in your industry is going through it. So you must have competitors.
100%.
You guys are fighting for the ones that are staying.
Yeah, so people were drop bottom lowering prices, and it was like, dude. But it was just domino effect. But best thing that ever happened to me in my life, hands down.
So how low did it go? So when you take us through that time,
How low did it go?
As far
Lost
as-
the house.
Lost
We
the
lost
house,
our house.
okay.
Lost the cars. Got a divorce and then I just had to start from scratch again.
so would you say rock bottom? Fair? Like
No, I don't say rock bottom because rock bottom means I can't work,
but low point for sure.
For sure. My self-esteem, dude, like, damn, I let my family down. But then I'm like, okay, so she's jumping ship, right? Like this isn't all on me. And like, okay, were you only here for those cars? Were you only here for those houses and stuff like that, dude? So the picture started becoming a lot clearer through that big ordeal.
And so when you start the turnaround to rebuild your business and your life, like we can label it how we want, whether it's a depression or it's just a low, you wake up and look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm done. Or was it a slow process to climb out? You got to where you're like, okay, you had to rebuild everything. Yep. So what's that look like?
So told myself, I'll never, ever be in that position again, right? I don't want the house. I don't want the cars. I just want to be like happy. Jordan's born at this, when all this is happening now Jordan's born and he's playing, God, what do you call that? Hot shots in first grade, second grade, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't make games. I didn't make practices because I was working so much. Now, when all this happened, I just said, you know what? I'm going to work for what I need. Because now it's just me, right? I'm going to work for what I need and whatever my son needs and whatever my daughter needs. Like, I'm cool with that. And dude, it's amazing what people need and people want. I mean, there's big
Quite a difference. Yeah.
So they still did the Disneylands and stuff like that. No.
They don't know any different.
No, dude.
Yeah, they never do.
No. My daughter, when we were living in the big house, my daughter would have friends like, oh, we're going to Europe. Dad, can we go to Europe? And I'm like, no. Like you have no business in Europe. Like what are you going to do in Europe at, 12 years old? So I'm like, no, let's go to Marine World or, Discovery Kingdom. But now it's like I coached Jordan until he outgrew me in coaching, right? To where it's like, okay, I can't coach you no more. So first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, all those teams, dude, I was there. Never missed a practice, never missed a game. And I was just like, a lot of times I'd be like, damn, I missed a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I'll never, ever put myself in a situation to not be a dad so I could have a nice car. So I could have a nice house. Like my kids right now, they probably don't remember the car. They don't remember the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, oh, Dad, you remember we went to Tahoe for that basketball tournament? Yep, I do remember because we're there. I was there.
Yeah, I've known you for a while. So
and I've never missed a game, dude.
Yeah, if I had to define Danny, I'd say it's more about the experience than anything. Like you pay for the experience.
100%.
Go ahead.
So as you started, I imagine, building back, it was just you just did that in a way that was, not as hardcore as before? Were you just incorporating it when you could or when you wanted to outside of, you know, the parenting and the home life?
Yeah. So I said, I know what I could do now on my own. And that was the goal for me. Like, okay, I'm going to get to this. I'm going to get to this. Right. And I mean, and that's what it is now. Right now, I'm doing a little bit too much now, but I'm moving slow. Like, so whatever allowed me to provide for my family, whatever needs they have, roof, food, weekends away, stuff like that. That's what we're working for. So, you know, I have friends that are like brothers to me that, you know, they all have different means of resources that their kids are going to get, you know, whether they're houses, whether they're, you know, stuff like that. My kids probably won't get none of that, but I didn't get none of that. Everything I've gone through in my whole life is 1000% what Danny did, ups and downs, you know, but I've never looked at my mom and said, damn, you didn't do this for me, you know, like, nor my stepdad. Oh. Like, my biological loser dad, you're going to trip out on this dude, has won the lottery. And I'm not kidding, twice. And he reaches out, dude. And I've had cousins go, bro, get a check. Wow. And I'm like, not a dime, dude. Not a dime.
Yeah, not worth it.
Like, I'll sell my soul for that, dude.
There's lessons in there that you leave. So I want to dig a little bit because a lot of people going through that could like throw up their hands or go get the 9 to 5 or decide like, oh man, the business, you know, pool business, it went down once, like, you know, not get back into it. So how did you actually, I think times like that make us realize family's important and the things that you want. But to actually push yourself to keep going and build it back, like how did you do that?
Okay, so the 9 to 5 was never an option, never. And the business didn't fail because of Danny, right? The business failed because of the economy we all went through. So I think I had 300-400 clients when it happened. I still had 100 and something clients that didn't go refinance, that didn't go spend crazy money, that, you know, they're like, hey, we're good. We're going to sit right here on our little pot that we have. We're not going to go borrow money and do some foolish stuff. And that's all I needed, you know?
Stayed consistent with them.
Yes. Like, and then it just built from them. So yeah, I have clients that I've probably had for 20 years now when I moved out here. And that's the trippy part, dude. Like the kids they're signing their name on the concrete by the pool. And now the kid's in college. And I'm just like, dude.
That is so sweet.
Yeah. Well, we're aging.
Yeah. Dude,
So I know you. So I know you have some of the kids that come work for you and help you out. So when you look back to when you were coming up and the grind and the hard work and what you see today, do you see a difference?
They can't do it.
They can.
No. Different kids, dude.
In what way?
Well, none of them want to work. So what I do is basically work, right? I'm not staring at a computer, but that's my choice. I don't want to stare at a computer. But I've gone through, and they're all friends. They're all my brother's kids, right? 5, 6 of them, and all of them have their little ways of going, dude, this ain't me. I mean, dude, and I get it. These kids are 17, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. There's going to be days where it's 30 something degrees in the morning. There's going to be days where it's 110, right? Nobody wants to do that for 15, 16, 17 bucks an hour, which is a trip because you would think like, dude, that's money. Let me do this. Yeah. But you would also think that they would be like, hey, Mr. Flores, it's supposed to be 110 today. Can we start at 6, right? Can we start at 6 and try to get off early?
Oh, they're not getting up early.
Oh, and they're like, hey, it's 110. Are we working? And I'm just like, well, yeah. But dude, I don't know, dude. I mean, so dude, all these kids that work with me, dude, are 10,000 times better shape than me, and I run circles around them, dude. You know.
So we had talked to Mike Bertello on the last one. He talked about his coming up, and then he also talked about the youth today have all these safety nets. Like all of our kids have us. I know my kid can come to you. Do you think that's part of the problem? You think that's part of it?
We're not letting them fail, right?
Some of us don't have people saving us, and that is a little different. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, dude, you didn't have an option when you're coming up, is what I'm getting at, right? You had to go make it happen.
Oh, dude. Here's a funny story, man. I remember when I was probably 16 and a half, 17 years old. I used to be, dude, my at home, I don't know if you ever had this, but we had street lights.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, when the street lights came on, It was full bore jets getting home, right?
Absolutely.
Some kids didn't have to. Some kids can go in front of their house and just hang out in front of the house. My mom was like, nah, you're getting inside the house. You take a shower. My mom was like just like a clean Hispanic lady, dude. Like Saturdays, you smell pine sol, dude. So it was like, nope, shower, get your stuff ready for school, baseball uniform, whatever sport we were playing. Hey, you got to get it ready for tomorrow's game. And then I'm looking out the windows, dude, and all my friends are still in front of they're not playing, but they're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to hang out. So I used to always tell my mom, dude, the day I'm 18 years old, I'm out. She's like, cool, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Dude, I was still in high school when I turned 18. I turned 18 in January, right? Dude. So I told my stepdad, I was like, Dad, and he was my mentor. Like that dude, in a rough way, he's the one that like was like, damn. Now I'm like, I get it. Then I was like, F you, dude.
He
Like,
developed you.
Dude, we'd be at the dinner table and he'd slap the hell out of me, dude, because I was wearing a hat, right? And I'm like, I took it as, dude, don't touch me. And instead of going like, damn, let me take it off, And he's like, I've told you too many times to take it off, right?
Yeah. I grew up the same way. And it's not like that anymore, Dave.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, dude, the weekend after my 18th birthday, I was like, hey, Dad, can you help me? Because he had a truck. And he's like, yup, I'll help you. And, dude, my portion of rent when I moved out was, I think it was $400 a month. And I had my own bathroom, and there was 5 bedrooms in the house, the couple, and then they rented each. But I knew 2 other people that were in the other rooms, but they were already in college, like junior college. So I was like the baby of the group, but I was still in high school. So I moved out. Dude, my mom was, what do you need? Right? She bought me a little fridge. And I'm like, this is sick. Awesome. Like, I'm going to be partying every weekend. Dude, it took 4 weeks for me to go like, nah, this ain't good right here. People were taking my toilet paper, dude.
Yeah.
Breaking the locks. My food. My mom would go shopping for me and it'd be gone.
And they knew it was coming.
So I went back to my mom, dude, 1 month. I said, Mom, can I come back? She was like, it's been 4 weeks. And I go, I know. She goes, got to go talk to Dad. And I'm like, oh, dude, that ain't going to go well. So I went to the shop and he was wrenching, dude. And when I shake his hand, bro, he'd cut the circulation. Like his hands were mitts, right? And I'd be like, Dad. And he has a cigarette in his mouth. He goes, aren't you supposed to be in school? And I'm like, I just got out. He goes, is something wrong with the car? And I'm like, nope. Can I talk to you for a minute? Yeah. I was like, I want to come back. And he goes, already? Right? And I'm like, yeah. I go, it's just not working out, but I got to give notice. And he's like, I don't think so. I don't think you've learned your lesson. And I'm like, what lesson? He goes, you being appreciative of what your mom and me did for you. Like your mom cleaned toilet paper, shampoo, dinner every day.
Yeah.
And you don't appreciate it. And I'm like, I do appreciate it. And he's like, no, you don't. You would have never left. Nobody wants to leave that. Like, but you chose to leave that to go live a life that you thought was going to be better. And I'm like, dude, I start crying, dude. I'm like 18 years old. I'm like, oh, come on, please.
Let me back in.
And he goes, come back in 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks. It was like the longest 2 weeks. Dude, I came back. He goes, I go in the shop and he's like, is that 2 weeks? And I go, yeah. And he goes, let me talk to Mom. Let me see if she'll have you. I knew my mom she would never tell me no. But it was like a whole game they were playing, man. Like, okay. I had to go, Dad, did you talk to Mom? You're not calling me. No, I haven't talked to Mom yet. We've been busy. Okay, can you talk to Mom, please?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then finally it was like, come back in. Then that guy goes, how much were you paying? And I said, $400. And then he goes like this. He goes, you're going to now pay me $500 a month. That's what you're going to pay now to live here, or you don't come back. And I'm like, $500 a month to live in my own house? And he's like, yep.
Wow.
Gave him $500 a month, dude. And then when I moved out, for all the months I gave him $500, he handed me cash because I used to give him cash. Oh. He gave me all the money back and he goes, here you go.
Oh,
this
wow.
is for you. Like, you can save. So
He was teaching you a lesson.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Different. Definitely different.
He would be my conversation, my lone conversation if I had one conversation left.
Oh, really?
For sure. Without a doubt.
Oh, That's deep. That is very deep.
How long did it take you to get there to realize that
After he passed, for sure.
Yeah.
He passed in the 18th. There was 9/11. So he passed on the 18th after 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So I remembered like he was, hospice was already at the house, and he was looking at the TV, and everything's collapsing and stuff.
gosh.
And he's just staring. He can't even talk anymore. But the TV was on, and dude, back then they're like the wooden console TVs. Like there's no remote controls. And he's just, dude, tears just coming down. And he's just staring at the TV, and you could see a slight nod, like, and you're just like, dude. And then 6-7 days later, he passed.
Oh,
Great dude, great man.
great man.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had at least one more question and see if Natasha has any. But so we talk about success a lot. So how do you define success? And do you feel successful?
Dude, my definition of success has nothing to do with my bank account. That's for sure. So my success is probably the happiness of everybody under my roof. If they're all taken care of, smiling, dude, that's successful, man, to me. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody does like nice stuff, nice trips, stuff like that. But that doesn't mean like, oh man, I want to be successful so I can go on trips. So success, dude, you just had a guy in here, dude. That was a great quote. Isn't defined by money. Who said that?
Oh, I can't remember.
Was it the last one? Was it Mike?
It might have been.
No, it was before that, or maybe before that.
I don't know. I have to go back and look.
Dude.
I think it was Casey.
And I was like, that might be my favorite quote ever. Dude, Bob Marley. Some people are so rich, all they have is money.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's nice to do stuff, but I'd rather have a relationship with my kids than be working 70, 80 hours a week and not being home and then going, oh, okay, we're going to go to Hawaii though for 7 days and then back. And then I'm not going to see you for another, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So do you, when you think of yourself, you think success? Do you see yourself as successful?
I never use that word ever, dude.
Well, now you're on the spot.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's hard. I don't, if somebody goes, are you successful? I'm like, the first thing that comes to my head is people are ensuing, right? How big your bank account is. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know, dude. I don't look at it like that. If you ask me if I'm successful without the bank account, dude, I might be one, just being, dude, with my friends, with everything I got, I think I'm one of the most successful people in the world, dude.
Oh, without
There's
a doubt.
the answer.
Yeah. So I'll define
Dude,
it.
I have an amazing circle. Dude, I got friends, then I got boys, then I got family, dude,
Yeah.
And I see them all. When I play golf, I want to play golf and play well, but I'm playing golf to be like, dude, what's the other 3 dudes up to? How you been? How's the kids? How's this? I want to play golf with 3 dudes that I know. Otherwise, I'd go play golf by myself with 3 strangers, right? Not doing that.
Yeah. So I have to, from the outside llooking in, I'm going to tell a story about how Danny and I met.
I was going to ask. I actually was going to ask.
It's kind of funny. I'm like, wow, okay.
Danny's going to jump in here too, and then I'll tell you how I view from the outside. So we had a golf event for basketball fundraiser, and I was new to the area of Rockland. Kids, I think, are sophomore, freshmen. And I had a little bit too much to drink, and we're outside of the golf course, and Danny's talking to me about my son playing football and how good he was, and I totally misinterpreted it.
Oh my gosh.
And we don't know each other.
We don't know each other.
Anthony, my goodness.
And I'm about standing over Danny, and he's like, my man, what's wrong? Other buddy comes up, I didn't know that well at the time, and he's like, hey, separates us, and it's time to go. And I wake up, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So we have a basketball game, and I walk in, and I see Danny in the stands with Cheryl, and I'm like, I have to go talk. I have to go talk to this guy. So I walk up, and I said, let me reintroduce myself. I apologize. I am so sorry. And since then, Danny and I have become such great friends. But That could have went a lot of different ways, just to give you an idea of the type of man he was.
Yeah, let's get your perspective on this
that was the
situation.
introduction. Like, I was like, okay. And
He has some issues.
Jordan was a freshman, and I'm there with my significant other. We'll get into how like we met and stuff too. But I think we're all drinking, and I knew his son. I didn't know his son, but I knew of him. Cheryl, my quote unquote wife, girlfriend, had him in school, and she's like, great athlete. Right. So I was like, oh, so when I would see him play, I was like, oh shit, nice, good athlete. So I'm like, hey man, is Donovan gonna play football? Dude. And then you would have thought that I said, hey man, F your son. Like, I hope he doesn't play sports at Rockland, and I don't, and that's what you thought I said. And so I'm sitting there going like, okay, my son's a freshman, and this is going to happen in this bar right now. And my son's going to kill me. Like, this is going to be bad. And then somebody else comes between us, and he was like, Jesus Christ, you got to stop. So, and I'm like, okay.
What a good story.
Yeah, and I'm like, and that's where it started.
Wow.
That's where it started.
There you go.
And so I want to stay on success real quick, because I want to tell a little bit the way people view Danny. So Danny takes care of everybody. So he talks about his family, but he takes care of all of us in the community. Next weekend, we're going on a golf trip. That's by invite only, with 18 of the greatest guys. You take that 18 times, probably 100. Everybody that I've ever been around that's known Danny, or you introduced me to, is just a magnificent person. We talk about success, and you can remove the bank accounts. It's, if not every weekend, it's every week. Danny's with somebody, with people, taking care of people, and he's the guy that makes you laugh and have a good time. So I definitely, from the outside looking in, just define you as nothing but success, and I would strive to have the relationships and the friendships that you have. So there's my 2 cents.
Appreciate that, man. And that's success, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. My other half at home, she keeps me in tow. So
tell us how you met real quick.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was away wine tasting one weekend. And it was actually kind of a date, and dropped her off at the airport, and I was with another couple friend. And I was like, I wasn't being mean or anything, but I was like, dude, I got to give this dating thing we got to stop. This is just getting old. And so I was like, I'm just going to be by myself for a while. Right. When she gets out of the car, we drop her off at the airport. My friends who are driving, they're like, hey, I just got a text from one of our friends. They want to introduce you to, and I'm like, dude, we just said no, we're done. And then I was like, you know what? Send her a pic of me, send me a pic of her. I don't want no blind date. If we both if we both enjoy the pictures or whatever, let's go out and have dinner. So they sent them. I don't even know what pictures it was, and I got it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's go have dinner. So we go to dinner. Probably a couple weeks later, we go to Carmelita's in Roseville. You know where that is? It's a Mexican restaurant in Riverside.
It's the original.
Yes, the original.
Oh, okay.
And that happens to be her grandma's restaurant.
Wow. So
we go and we sit at the bar, and she's freaking doing fantasy football. And I'm like, wow, all right. Like, a chick's doing fantasy football, and we're just drinking beers and stuff. And I'm like, we could do this. Like, in my head, I'm like, this is chill. So we just start talking, and this is going to blow your mind, man. We start talking, and she's from Roseville originally. She's never left. And she goes, oh, I played college softball at University of San Francisco. And I'm like, oh, really? Have you heard this story?
No.
Dude. And I go, really? I go, So I think I went to the bathroom so I wouldn't be on the phone. And I texted my aunt, and I said, Auntie, what college did you coach softball at? She goes, University of San Francisco. And I'm like, what year? And she told me the year. So I didn't know how to say, what year were you there and stuff like that, right? So I was like, hey, do you remember your coach? And she goes, yeah. But she couldn't remember it, right? And she came up with, she said a nickname or something. And I'm like, no, I don't know about that. So then I went through Facebook, and I said, hey, was this your coach? And dude, she starts crying.
Oh.
And she goes, how do you know her? I go, this is my aunt. And she goes, no way. And I said, Auntie, does this girl look familiar? She goes, I can't tell. And I go, Auntie, do you remember going on a recruiting trip in Roseville and you went to a restaurant called Carmelita's? And she goes, Mijo means son. Mijo, I do. I was with her mom and dad, and I can't remember the player's name, but I never coached her. And I was like, yes, that's correct. So Cheryl goes, she recruited me, gave me full ride scholarship, but then she took a pro job. My aunt took a pro job and left, and she stayed. So Cheryl's crying, dude, and going, dude, because of your aunt, like, because she goes, we couldn't afford college. You know, my parents weren't going to be able to, I'd have just been playing junior college softball someplace. So then I was like, shit, dude, you owe me a lot of drinks then.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to propose. I was like, wow, you love me.
You're like, you're picking up the check.
Right? Wow. I was like, I should never buy drinks now.
Oh my
So now
God.
the first time her dad saw my aunt at a family function crying, it was awesome, dude.
That's so cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my
It's
gosh.
crazy.
Small world, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know who has a better first meeting, you and your now,
Right.
you and
Or me,
Anthony. I mean,
exactly.
you bring a lot of good first impressions.
Yeah.
It seems.
And,
Like.
and Cheryl's blessed me with two amazing girls that are kicking ass, and one works for Lockheed Martin doing her own little thing, and the other one's killing it in nursing college right now. So all our kids are grinding, dude. Blessed.
Awesome.
Successful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, no complaints.
It's an amazing family.
Yeah, dude.
Amazing people. And Cheryl's amazing. And I know she's going to listen to this. What a great story.
Yeah, right on.
So we're coming up to the end. Natasha, how much, you have some questions?
I just want to ask my key question. I think I might know your answer, but I have to always ask.
Let's go.
So if you could talk to your 30-year-old self, looking back, what advice, if you could give one piece of life advice, what would it be?
30-year-old. Man, that's a great question.
Loaded.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
What the hell was I doing at 30 years old? I mean, you know what? I don't know, man. There's the way I just went about everything, dude. I don't ever look back and go, I wish I did something different. So just continue to be brave. Just be brave, dude. Don't ever be afraid to fail. That's what I tell my son all the time. Like, go for it. Just do it. If they say no, okay. If you fail, okay. That's better than never trying, though. So yeah, just don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of in life, you know. Just got to make it happen. It's there. It's 100% there.
It's fantastic.
Just got to get
advice.
it. Just got to go get it.
You got to go
It's
get
a good
it.
answer.
Yeah.
It's a great answer. So Danny, we've talked for over an hour. It's a great conversation. Just
Right
kind of
on,
flows,
dude.
man. So we're going to do our Inspire. I'll go first, Natasha, and then we'll let you end it. I appreciate the time. This
Absolutely.
has been good. This has been fun.
Thank you both for having me. Had a blast.
Family.
great to have
family.
you.
And then we're going to go watch the Sacramento Kings beat up on the Warriors. So, all right. So when this airs, I will be on my way to the annual golf trip that I refuse to miss. And on the day that I'm driving there, it's my 25th anniversary. So my Inspire Thursday, as you're listening to this, babe, is my wife. Been married 25 years. She's my rock, and love you to death. So do all of the guys that are going to be sending you pictures and making fun of us for me being with them on our day. But just an incredible woman. So that's my Inspired Thursday for this week and the last 25 years. So.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
And what a wife to let you to be going on the golf trip.
It takes a special someone to put up with Aunt, right?
Well,
There's a lot of apologies along the line.
I think we all know that. Get a little bit of that. She gets the worst. I'm
Exactly.
Sure. I'm sure.
Exactly.
All right, I'm up.
Yeah.
So my Inspire Thursday is a good friend of mine. Her name is Rachel Rambo, who you know as
yes,
well.
I do.
Yes. Rachel has always, I guess I'll take it back. I was thinking about the first time I met Rachel, and I was still in college. I needed my last credits to get my bachelor's. I needed an internship, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I'm working full time. Like, I don't have time for this, you know? And so Rachel took me under her wing and helped me through, you know, my internship, taught me about marketing. She was fantastic. We ended up bonding over on the personal side. We kind of had some similarities growing up, some difficulties, and bonded that way. Bonded over business and being a woman in business and all of that good stuff. So Rachel has always been a good friend. She's bold and she's kind, and she can be an absolute good time. We have gotten in trouble a time or two together, but she's fantastic, and she's out living her best life in Texas now, loving on her grandson, like growing her own food, wonderful house, doing her own thing. So I always look up to her. She's just been a fantastic mentor and friend. And Rachel, when you're listening, love you. I'm always rooting for you, and you're my inspiration.
Hey.
Yeah, that's an incredible one.
Awesome. All right. My turn.
Yeah,
Yep,
Danny.
go for
All
it.
right. My Inspired Thursday. My other half, man. She's amazing. We're not married. Doesn't... probably bothers her sometimes, maybe, but I think it's only when other people are like, hey, when you guys getting married? Hey, when you guys getting married? But
Are we proposing right now?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know, that girl grinds every day, and it just makes me grind. She makes me a better person daily with just a look like, hey, let's go. We got this. When she could tell when I'm dragging, she just looks at me and goes, no choice. Let's go. Like, so she's at a volleyball game right now. She's coaching a bunch of little kids, and she loves them, dude. So she's the one that keeps the house moving daily. So without her, none of this works, man. None of it. She's an amazing lady.
Yeah, I know Cheryl. She is amazing. Very cool, Danny.
I love that. It's a good one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah.
Keep grinding. I love listening to the shows.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah.
It's good stuff, dude.
We're having, you talk about success, and we talk about the podcast and what success means to us. And every week we sit down and we have a conversation with someone for an hour and 20 minutes. And, you know, it's 15 minutes before, maybe it's a drink after. So let's call it 2 hours a week we get to spend with somebody. Sometimes we know the story, sometimes we don't. But that is the success of the podcast for Natasha and I, is we get to spend time with you. We get to learn about you. We go back to Bodega Bay, which not everyone knows, but that's where this all started, and tell us your story. And I feel blessed that we can just hang out and have a conversation. So
It's an amazing place.
yeah, it is.
It's just that trip, man, is just full of just amazing conversation.
And memories.
Because that's what we do, dude. Just conversate, laugh.
It's so
It's
important.
all you need in life, dude.
Yeah, it's so important.
Conversate with the people you're down with and laugh, dude. I mean, everything else just falls into place, you know?
Every time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Come home, always going like, when are we going back?
Exactly.
It's a blast.
Well,
Love you guys.
Yeah, I love you. I love all
sure.
of them too, man. We have a really good group. This has been a great conversation. So Natasha, I'll let you do your thing.
All right. Gramps, Millennial, and Danny out.